It's funny how this happens. Immediately after our symbol for our episode depicts a hawk with a third eye, and we break the news on this program that the NBA is soon to be switching over their grid from Second Spectrum to Hawkeye Innovations. VAR is coming from the tennis courts to the soccer fields, from the AAA baseball fields to the hardwood. The NBA is going to start doing VAR through Hawkeye Technologies, or sorry, Hawkeye Innovations. And you hear that? Do you hear it? Oh,
What's hark? What goes there?
I mean, the Hawks are on a 3-game win streak. Nothing to see here.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
3 wins, third eye. Makes sense.
Sounds like everything's all good in Atlanta then, right?
Oh, not exactly. Not exactly. Our friend of the program, Sam Amick, reporting at The Athletic on Friday, inside the end of the Travis Schlenk era in Atlanta, the Hawks' new power structure and how it's impacting the team. A very excellent report where he had on the record conversations with Trae Young and with John Collins, who's being, mired through the trade rumor mills once again, year after year, month after month, rumor mill after rumor mill. How many mills are there in the league? Anyway,
all the mills.
John Collins, Trae Young on the record doing some behind the scenes reporting, and another report from the Atlantic Journal and Constitution this week with more details of the palace intrigue, the behind the scenes political war that is going on at the top of the Hawks and is impacting the court. But I mean, they're on a 3-game win streak. Nothing to see here. Trae Young's great, right?
Yeah, no, it's funny because whenever I hear about organizations featuring this level of dysfunction, I can't help but smile. I'm sorry, guys. I get wistful about this, about these sort of just complete ineptitudes. Like, for example, I don't know, having a front office of people who have never really done this before. It's incredible. And look, this is not meant to be a criticism of any of the individuals, some of whom I know. But at some point, you got to have people there who've been there, done that. This isn't something like, it's not riding a bike. And so when you got a bunch of people who have limited front office experience, and by the way, spearheaded by if reporting is to believe, basically a shadow puppet regime.
Oh, I love a shadow puppet regime.
Oh,
I think we just figured out the title of this episode.
Shadow puppet. How's Angel going to draw a shadow puppet? I can't wait to find out.
With the hands, maybe the hawk is flapping its wings, but then it has a silhouette, a different silhouette.
I love how we always have like text. We on a undisclosed location, a secure line. We send messages to our artist Angel, and we come up with like a bunch of different ideas, and then he just like blows our minds every week with art. So thank you to Angel, and we're gonna like come up with some ideas for shadow puppets, and he's gonna disregard all of it and then come up with something that's gonna blow our minds. So thank you in advance, Angel. It's what you're describing in the shadow puppet regime. What is that? It's it's the son of the owner. Tony Ressler's the owner. The son.
So yes, Nick Ressler, who's the son of owner Tony Ressler
Jr.
Jr. That's what Nick Ressler should be called, actually, Tony Ressler Jr. at this point, because you haven't earned the right for us to know your name. That was literally the reasoning, by the way. You haven't earned the right for us to know your name. So I remember the day Steph Curry changed from Del Curry Jr. until Steph Curry.
Oh,
which ironically, he is actually Del Curry II. Yeah, he's Wardell Curry II. But I remember that day. I remember it was his, I want to say they played Duke his freshman year, and I was like, oh, he's good. And that changed everything. But yeah, Tony Wrestler Jr.
Yeah.
You out here, having undue influences. Undue influences. What I mean by undue influences is, I think that anytime you are coming in on bold nepotism, as I like to call it, right? It ain't hard to connect the dots why you're here. You have to approach it with a level of kind of patience isn't the word, but you got to take it a little slow. Like I think of Kirk Lacob, and it was very important for Kirk Lacob. And to this day, if you talk to him about it, he'll tell you, yeah, I'm here because my dad owns the team. But that did not lead to kind of like a skipping of steps, particularly with regard to kind of exerting influence on decision making. I know that because Kirk is now the second in command to Bob Myers, who's still there.
And has a podcast.
And has a podcast. It's Cold Exit. Let's not forget about that.
It's called The Tease.
Travis Schlenk is now in an advisory role, which according to the AJC...
Hold on, Amin. Make sure you slap those air quotes on advisory there. Thanks, John Collins, for that.
Oh, man. There's so many ways to go. So the AJC has informed us that this is a title alone and that he has no actual input in the goings on. This is the reason why he decided to step down, or at least in part, was because of this introduction of voices in a room that probably should not have been as loud as they were. Not to say the voices should not have existed, because I too, like Landry Fields says in the piece, that it welcomed a diversity of voices in that room.